Hi everyone, I am a psychology student at master's level in psychotherapy, and today we'll be watching Toby providing therapy to Michael in the office, so let's go.
I made a mistake. I committed corporate punishment. My bad.
Michael's been assigned 6 hours of mandatory counseling with a trained professional. I actually have a degree in social work. I got a chance to do something good here.
What's the context for the therapy scenes that we're about to watch? We know that Michael slapped his nephew in previous scenes, and now he has to go through 6 hours of mandatory therapy with Toby, who's a certified counselor. We know from their dynamic in the entire show that, first of all, Michael hates Toby and he doesn't want to be in this therapy. He's pretty much said so in these few shots. Whereas Toby, he's very enthusiastic about providing therapy. He really wants to try. No one really believes in him because it's Toby, but he's really up for it and he really wants to try to do some good and help Michael. So it's a very complicated dynamic, and realistically in private practice context, if the client doesn't want to work, you just don't work with the client. You can force someone to be in therapy who doesn't want to, but this is a corporate environment and he just has no choice, so we're gonna see how it goes.
I know what you want to ask me. Did your mom ever see you naked?
We can do this with more privacy.
We're going to leave the blinds open so everybody can see what a big failure you are.
Flavor of
1 hour.
hours. Oh, look, I can't count the hour if you don't talk.
It's all I had to do is sit here for 6 hours.
Michael, it's up to me to check off the boxes, and I can't do that unless I honestly feel
You have any idea how angry that is making me?
Tell me.
So this is pretty interesting. So we have Michael that's very on the defensive and even being quite aggressive against Toby and trying to be humiliating and making him feel bad. And Toby found a way to work with that. So Michael got really upset and said, "Hey, do you know how much I hate this?" And Toby said, "Well, just tell me." And I'd say that's a pretty good way to salvage the situation and try to make something out of it. So he tried his best, and Michael gave him a little bit of real emotion. And even though the emotion is hatred and anger, Toby found a way to reflect on that and try to keep it going. So I'd say this is, given the context of a very defensive, conflictual client who doesn't want to be there and doesn't want to be in therapy, this is about as well as it can go. So I'd say good job, Toby, so far.
I think we might be about to maybe really get somewhere.
Well, the other night, I was sitting at the table eating my penis. I mean peas. I think it all stems from the fact that I was probed by an alien life force.
You know what, Michael? You're right. You win.
Michael is still very much on the defensive, doesn't want to participate in the therapy whatsoever, and Toby has very little space to work with. And I'd say that within this context, Toby is doing an acceptable job. He allows Michael to express his anger and his aggression, and Toby doesn't really respond to it because there's no reason to respond to it. He could only feed it and make it worse. So instead of making it worse, he stays silent and he takes it. And I think he hopes that if he keeps going like that, maybe later during the session, they could go somewhere. So given the context, Toby is doing pretty much the best he can.
This is pointless. We're not getting anywhere. Why don't we just run out the clock by playing games? Play something more complicated if you'd like.
This is plenty complicated.
So Michael never caved in and they never really started the therapy. But Toby came up with this idea to suggest to Michael that they play some games together. And this is a great approach, and it's quite clever because this allows Toby and Michael to enter a new dynamic of play, which is going to cut them off a little bit from their dynamic of Michael being aggressive and hurtful and Toby having no other choice than being silent and taking it in. So this is a good step for Toby. He's doing pretty much the best he can again, and we're gonna see where it goes.
I played it once or twice with Jeff. Jeff was my mother's boyfriend, who she married.
So, her husband and your stepdad.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I never thought of it that way, though.
So there you go. We took the context of playing together and being part of a game and we turned it into a discussion. And this is the first time in the session where we've had Michael talk a little bit sincerely and about his past and his history and the way he feels. So I'd say that Toby successfully found a strategy to turn this completely unproductive therapy session into something that could be productive. So I'd say that his strategy worked pretty well.
Jeff said that the manager was making a really good move by taking the pitcher out. He really respected the manager.
It's really sad that your dog ran away, but why did it keep you from going to the park?
I was afraid I would find him in the park playing with another kid.
Why?
I guess that's why I thought he ran away in the first place, to find a kid he liked better.
Dogs don't do that.
Right?
This is nice. So they're already playing a new game, so maybe they've been talking for like 20 minutes or so, which is so much better than what we had before, where Michael was so aggressive and nothing was happening. And Toby has a pretty good way of providing the therapy. He only reflects on what Michael says and tries to get him to talk a little bit more. He's not being too aggressive or intrusive in his way of talking and talking about Michael's feelings. He just goes with the flow and tries to make the discussion go a little bit longer, which is, again, that's the best he can do in this context. So I'd say this is quite well done by Toby.
It's very important for you to be liked, isn't it?
Well, let's not get too... This isn't a counseling session. Okay. You son of a gun. You son of a bitch. Wow. Okay.
Just trying
You
to help you, Michael.
bitch,
It's
God.
not, Michael.
You're very helpful, aren't you? You try
I'm
to help
trying to.
everybody. Do you want to play another game?
I just
You
wanna-
are good. But you know what? You can't help people.
Michael realized the trick, he realized what was happening, he realized that the therapy was actually still going on and it wasn't just some games. So unfortunately, as soon as he realized this, he went instantly back to his defensive mode and right back to the aggression against Toby. So as soon as this started, the session was completely over and ruined. But again, given the context, I think that Toby did just the best he could with a defensive and resisting client. They got to talk a little bit, and that's really the best we could hope for. So as far as I'm concerned, I'd say good job, Toby. So if you'd like to keep learning about psychology from reactions, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.